Okay, so we are starting now. So a very good evening to all of you. And so the topic that I am going to take today is technology of education, and that is under the theme of educational technology as part of the next Eduthon. So first, let me congratulate all of you for participating in this wonderful event organized by Makeshift, uh, Ruchira and Sharvari. Congratulations to them as well. And this is going to be a month-long interaction with you all. So I hope that you find this fruitful and productive. Okay. So any questions you have, you can just write in the chat when I am presenting. And yes, I want all of you to, I don't want this to be like, a one-way type of a communication that I keep talking and you all listen to my blabber. I want this to be as interactive as possible because I believe that unless there is interaction, unless, we discuss things, unless we come out with some interesting things, this is not going to help, right? So this is going to be the outline of my discussion today. I don't call this as a presentation, but more of a discussion. Okay. So this is, any guess on what this is? This picture shows, any guess? You can type in the chat. अच्छा, I think there is a request of हिंदी. Okay. तो आप जो अभी ये देख रहे हो वो क्या है? आपको कुछ अंदाजा लग रहा है कि ये पिक्चर किसका है, क्या है? Anyone? Any answer? No? Themes of Eduthon, analysis of the participants, right? So this is the percentage of participants registering under the different themes. And yes, very good answers, all of you. Very happy that you are interacting. Okay. So as you can see, almost, half of the participants want to know or they are interested in this theme of educational technology. And majority of this theme, I'm going to be a part of the different interactions. So I hope I am able to, justify your participation in this. I am able to answer your queries, and you feel that by the end of these various sessions that we are going to have, that this was very fruitful and it was one of your best decisions to participate in this event. And you stick to this event till the end. Because see, if you leave halfway, I don't think it is going to help anyways. Okay. That will defeat the purpose of the Eduthon. I hope you have gone through the different, things that are mentioned in the brochure. Yes. So one of the most important things is that we discuss some problems for the different themes, and then we together we come with a particular solution, right? We have different mentors who are going to help you in the different discussions and coming up with the problem statements and discussing about your solutions, and then finally how you can implement your solution. And I will be very happy if some of these problems and the solutions they get into reality, and we definitely have some startups or some concrete things coming out of these interactions. Okay. Okay, now another question. Is there a difference between education technology, technology education, and educational technology? So what is your thought about these three terms? So there are three terms here I have mentioned: education technology, technology education, and educational technology. तो आपको ये जो टर्म्स है तीन, ये तीनों, इज देयर अ डिफरेंस या तीनों एक ही है ऐसे लगता है? आपको क्या लगता है? Yes, anyone? Technology education related to most domains, then there is no difference. Knowing about technology and how education can play a part in learning these. Yes, it is all different. Okay. Any other answers? So I've got answers from a few. Is there a difference? Yes, you just need to write a yes or a no. Okay. Yes, yes. Okay, yes. Okay. Very well. So I'm happy that all of you feel that all these three terms are different. So now we will see what exactly is the difference. Okay. So what is education technology? So here, what is it? What is the meaning of this? Here we say that education as a technology. Okay. Right. Then technology education is basically study of technology. So it is designed to teach students to be prepared for a number of technology related fields and to learn about technology within specific fields. Okay. So this is what is technology education. And what I am part of since last almost 9 years is educational technology. And this is what is also the one of the themes in our Eduthon. Okay, so educational technology encompasses two important things: technologies of education and technologies for education. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, okay. Because someone said that they are having some issues, so I just asked. Okay. So there is this technologies of education and technologies for education. So today I'm going to discuss on technologies of education, and then tomorrow we will be discussing technologies for education. Okay. So first we will see what is technology of education. Okay. Now basically technology of education is covers learning strategies, instructional strategies, or learning theories, pedagogies. So all this comes under technology of education. So all these, they aim at achieving a teaching learning goal. Okay, so any teaching learning process, it has got a goal, and then there are certain things which are involved to achieve this teaching learning goal. So that particular something, we call it as a technology of education. Okay. And technology for education is basically external technologies such as, in initial years it was just computers, then slowly internet, and now so it is like, the technology for education are immense. We have these simulations, visualizations, virtual labs, animations, videos, audios, gamification. Then we have these intelligent tutoring systems with teachable agents. Then latest are virtual reality based solutions, augmented reality, AI, chatbot, and so on. So the world is full of technology for education. But let me stress this point here, that unless you know technology of education, any high end or any state of art technology that you use will fail in learning, achieving your teaching learning goal, if you are not very well conversant with technology of education. That is basically what it specifies, is how people learn, right? Because the goal of teaching learning or goal of education is basically that the learner should learn something, right? They should imbibe something in them, right? So any amount of high-end technology will fail if we are not very specific about these technology of education if we are not knowing the ins and outs of how people learn and don't implement that accordingly. Okay, so any questions so far? So I just want all of you to look at this slide for some time. Just have a look at this. Okay, so at the center, if you see, what is there? Educational technology, right? So this is a very, why did I show you this picture? Because, you know, this is a very, very vast, diverse field of education, right? There are so many things involved in educational technology, right? So it involves business and industry, it requires leadership, it has social issues in it, it uses 21st century skills, then it influences and is influenced by instructional design, and it incorporates the learning media, right? So then again, if you see instructional design, again, it has got so many different, you know, components. Again, each of the component in each of the things. So it's a very huge tree, right? It's a huge tree, and there is a research going on in each and every part of this tree, or each or every, I can say that these are the different roots of the tree. So each and every root has got a research component, and world over, you know, people are very, very curious. People are working towards, you know, finding out certain new things in each of these things, right? For example, if you just consider, say, the problem based. So this again is a vast field of knowledge, problem based. It's one of the roots, right? A very, so if you consider educational technology, then it goes from instructional design to teaching methods to problem based. So it's like, you know, a specific path to this particular route, and this itself is a vast study. Okay, this is a vast field of knowledge. So if you choose, you know, if you have chosen educational technology as your theme for the eduthon, I think all of you should be very well conversant with this concept map. This is called as a concept map. Again, concept map is a tool, right? It's a technology which is used in education, right? So this is one example of how you can use the technology. So this is this concept map has been used to show the relationships between the different components in the educational technology. Okay. So any questions on this? Okay, so next we see, so today we will discuss some of the components of the technology, this educational technology, that is technology of education. So as I said, mentioned earlier, that the first important thing is learning strategies or theories, right? So basically there have been three important theories, that is behaviorism, cognitivism and constructivist. Then we will see some part of instructional design. Then we will see what do you mean by curriculum? What are the different, you know, like things in the curriculum or learning objectives, pedagogy, assessment standards, and so on. Okay. So see, this is not a very new field, technology of education. Okay. See, technologies for education, I would say, yes, it is a very recent thing. Obviously, there were technologies which were used earlier in the earlier days also, but they were not high end like in the current thing. So do you think that the chalk and the duster and the blackboard or the green board that the teacher uses is a technology for education? It is a method. Okay. Anyone else? Any other answers? Is it a, it is a tool? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So see, it is a technology which the earlier teachers used to use for the purpose of education, right? So as you can see this timeline. All of you can see this timeline. Yes. So if you see, this goes on from 1940, since World War II. So there have been a lot of researchers who have done a lot of work in this technology of education, and people have come up with different theories through their research. So the first theory, that is behaviorism, it emphasizes the condition of behavior and the altering of the environment in order to create a desirable response from a learner. So this is based on behavior, the change in the behavior of the learner, okay, or the response from a learner. So what we do is, here we alter the environment so that we get a particular response from a learner. So this is what is a behaviorism theory. This is a very old theory which was proposed by B.F. Skinner in 1950s. You are going to study all these in details, I believe, in one of the other themes, that is education psychology. Then cognitive psychology, it emphasizes the nature of learning and how individuals structure knowledge, create reasoning and problem solving strategies. So this theory basically says that the individuals, they carry out they structure the knowledge inside their brain, they create reasoning, and then they also create the problem solving strategies. And then third is the humanistic psychology, which emphasizes the total person and immediate experiences that affect the structure of learning for students. So you're going to have detailed sessions on each of this and what each of this means. So this particular figure, I think, will summarize these three theories, right? Okay, so behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. Now, my work has been mainly in this particular constructivism and some part of cognitivism. Okay. Okay, now next important component of the educational technology of education is instructional design. Again, I believe you are going to have one complete session on instructional design later when we have theme related sessions. So today I'm just going to give you overview of important things here. So instructional design basically, so see, teaching learning happens, right? Teaching learning happens in different scenarios. It happens at different places. It happens for different learners, in different ways, and so on. So basically, the most important thing that the person who wishes that the learner should learn, right? So we call that as a teacher, but teacher can be anyone. It's not exactly just the classroom setting. It can be that learning happens everywhere, right? So currently also, when this session is going, you people are learning something. At the same time, I am also learning something from this session. So this, teaching learning happens in different contexts, different ways, uh, by different learners. But when we talk about formal learning, right, the classroom learning, or the formal settings of the teaching learning, then this instructional design is a very important aspect there. And the three important components of any instructional design are the curriculum, that is what is worth learning. So that defines basically the curriculum. Okay. Then pedagogy, that is how students learn and teachers teach. So that is the second important pillar of the design. And third, assessment, that is how to know that the students have learned, right? So what is the first? What is worth learning? Okay, so someone has to define that, okay, this is what is worth learning, right? So my curriculum, I will have these things inbuilt in my curriculum, because this is worth learning for the learner, right? And this can, again, this naturally, this curriculum, as you can see, what is worth learning will change. It will change, or it has got different factors associated with it, right? It will depend on who is the learner. It will depend on what is the age of the learner. It will depend on what is the setting of the learner, right? So what is worth learning, it will change. It depends on a lot of factors. Similarly, how students learn and teachers teach, that is the pedagogy, again it is dependent on lot of factors, right? There are a lot of metrics which decide the pedagogy for the particular curriculum, right? And third and very important part or component is assessment. Okay, many times what happens, we are so much worried about what they should learn and how we make them learn, that we are not focusing on whether whatever was our main objective, that what this is what is worth learning, have our students learned that? I mean are we having an authentic assessment, right? So what is authentic assessment? Basically, that the student is learning or has learned, or he is projecting himself that he has, or he is able to show or define or present or tell the teacher that yes, I have learned this. Okay, so assessment has to be authentic. So all these three things should be aligned for the student learning. These are three very, very important pillars of the instructional design, or an instructional design is a very important part when you talk about the teaching learning process. Okay, so any questions so far? I think there is a question on how is technology of education different from education technology. So this was, I think this I answered in my slide number 2. Want me to go back to slide number 2? Here. So this education technologies, education as a technology. So we are saying that education is considered as a technology for something, right? What is technology education? Okay. It's study of and technology of education is basically a component of educational technology. Have I answered your question, Deepak? I think he's okay. We'll go back to education as a technology includes technologies of education. Yes. Okay. So now another important thing. So see, when we are saying what is worth learning, right? So there have been people who have done a lot of, lot of work on finding out what is worth learning. And Robert Gagne is one of the, very, very well recognized, honored person. He has done a lot of work on this particular learning outcomes. That is what is worth learning. So that is what is learning outcomes. So what should be the learning outcomes of a teaching learning process? And he has defined, he says that according to him, there are 3 domains in which these learning outcomes can be. So what is the first domain? That is cognitive domain. So this cognitive domain is basically based on, it is knowledge based. Okay. And it has got these cognitive strategies are used for learning. So here we have these adopt, create, originate, and so on. So here we use these verbs such as adopt, create, originate. So whenever we say that a student is adopting this particular method or student has created something, okay, then we are talking about the gain of a knowledge by the student, and this knowledge is naturally it is in the cognitive domain. It is related to cognition. We have in our brain a center for cognition, okay, so it is related to that particular center of the brain, that is a cognition. Then second domain, it is called as a emotive based, or it is related to emotions, okay, and that is called as a affective domain. So here, suppose we say that the student has, he's preferring, he prefers coffee over tea, okay, or he favors this over that, or he chooses this, or he is happy, or he is, not happy with this, he's happy with coffee, not happy with tea. So all these come under this attitude, so they are basically related to our emotions, right? So like currently many people are saying, intelligent quotient. So initially IQ was a very important thing. People used to say he has a very, large IQ, or his IQ is this much, and so on. So there were some years in the history that people were, only talking about IQ, right? Now what has happened? People have started thinking about emotions, or EQ. They call it as a emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. So this all comes under the affective domain. So this is a very important aspect. So IQ, EQ, and then there is one that is psychomotor domain. This is action based, right? So it is related to the motor skills. Of course, this is a very important thing. So whenever learner executes something, or he performs a particular experiment, or he carries out some procedure, then we say that, okay, he has gained something. So whatever he has done is based on some actions. So we are using our motor skills, like now I am, moving my hands. So this is related to by the motion, right? So this is related to the motor skills. So the learning outcomes of any instruction, of any teaching learning process, they can be categorized into these three domains. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Yes, someone is saying that EQ is equally important. Yes, it is a very important thing for the overall growth of an individual, right? It's one of the most important things. Because if you are, you have a very high IQ, your intelligent quotient is very high, but you are somewhere, not able to control your emotions, then it is a problem, right? Or if you do not have, suppose empathy is one of the most important. Suppose you are working in a team, like currently most of the companies, they make people work in teams. So if naturally, if you are not, if you do not have that skill of working in a team, you are not a good team member, definitely you will not be considered very successful, right? You won't be able getting along with your team members, then you won't be able to get the desired results. That is going to hinder. Okay, anything, any questions? Okay. Okay, so now I have a question for all of you. So yes, I think someone is written, I think Amruta, she's writing that EQ is important because mostly preschool children require activities to develop motor skills. Yes, but I believe, see, if you want to develop something in a learner, earlier the better. Whatever you want to develop, whatever you want the learner to learn in any of the three domains, the earlier we begin, it is better. Yes, so what do you think is the goal of any touch? So I just want all of you to type in the chat or in this question answer. So can you see this question answer thing? Are you able to see this? or even if you type in the chat, it is fine. Goal is a balanced development of all three domains. Okay. To reach at particular point of knowledge, develop the child to be self-equipped. Okay. Any other answers? To get the expected change. Okay. Okay, so basically, the broad goal of a teaching learning process can be a mix of all this. It can be a mix of these two. It can be a mix of these two. It can be so these are the broad things, So either you want the learner to gain some knowledge, or you want the learner to develop some skill, right? Okay. Or you want to develop some attitude in that learner, or you want to develop some cognitive ability or thinking skill, we call it as. Cognitive ability we also refer to as a thinking, yes, all-round development to develop overall personality of an individual. Yes. So naturally, see, over a period of years, if the instructional design takes care of these four dimensions of the goal, right? Naturally, it will, so you each year or each module that you are designing, right, for your particular class, or maybe the student is participating in something, right? So it should be a mix of all this, right? Only then we can say that yes, he has, the particular learner has gone through the processes required for developing some knowledge, some skill, some attitude, and some thinking skill or some cognitive ability. So but the thing is, like, most of the time we are very much focusing, till now maybe we are focusing on the knowledge aspect, like, and when we say knowledge is basically related to the content, right? Okay, this is the chapter. In schools also, what we say that, okay, for this particular subject, or for this particular year, say second standard, you have these subjects, and in each of these subjects you have these chapters, and in this chapter there will be this, in this chapter there will be, so it's more, we call that as a content. So knowledge is basically is, so suppose you are uh, talk about, say, mathematics as a subject, right? So in that, what we teach them, okay, there is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and so on, right? So it is like, we are just talking about the content, and we ask them to just mug it up, learn it by heart, right? I'm coming to that later. So but yes, definitely we have realized that all these four dimensions are equally important, and if we are able to come up with a curriculum, come up with something which takes care of all these four dimensions, naturally the learner is going to benefit. He is going to be there is going to be overall development of the learner. We are going to and not only that, we also want to come up with some with the instructions or the teaching learning processes which help the learner to become a lifelong learner. Because he initially, in the olden days, it was okay that we, like, I remember in our days it was fine, we just had the content knowledge, we had this, some skills we had, but we could survive in that world because that world was completely different than the current world, right? The world is changing at such a fast rate. The rate of change is highest in the current decade, right? Things are changing so fast, and if we do not equip our learners to know that they know what are the changes that are happening, and they are able to survive in this changing world, then what is the point of going through all these processes, teaching learning processes, right? Okay, then now naturally this, in order to achieve these goals, Gagné has come up with 9 events of instruction, right? So he says that these 9 events are can be categorized into 3 different things, that is preparation, instruction and practice, assessment and transfer. So this is, we can say that this is pre-active, or this is like, before you are actually instructing, right? So these are the 3 things that come under before, that is pre. So gaining attention, informing learners of the objectives. Yes, we need to tell the learner that, okay, this is what is you are going to learn. They should know what they are going to learn, right? And then stimulating recall. They should also, the teacher should also think about, okay, what the learner already knows. It is not a clean slate like we used to assume earlier, that the student doesn't know anything and his brain is a clean slate and we just put things in his brain and he's going to learn. No, he has some knowledge, right? And that knowledge, sometimes that knowledge also has some misconceptions. So the teacher should know what is there in the brain of the learner. Then accordingly, the instruction and practice should be designed. So presenting the stimulus, providing learning guidance, right? Eliciting performance and providing the feedback, right? So these are very important. These 4, are very important part of the instruction, right? If any one is missing, your objective is going to be not achieved. And then naturally, as I mentioned earlier also, assessment and transfer. So we not only assessing the performance, but also enhancing retention and transfer. So these are very important factors. Retention, that means suppose now today you are participating in this webinar that I am conducting. Tomorrow, suppose tomorrow again we meet sometime, and if I ask you something related to what we discussed today, and you are not able to remember or retain, if there is no retention of the knowledge, I think that is not going to help in the long run, right? And then transfer. Now suppose you have learned something, you should be able to transfer it to some other context, right? So that is also a very important thing. Okay, so this in details I have covered. I think we are just 10 minutes. Can we go beyond 6, or I have to stop at 6? I think she's not there. Okay. So let me try to.
We have to stop like 5 minutes
o'clock.
before because we have another session at 6.
Okay. So this is about this. Yes, and another important factor, in the teaching learning process that we need to know, as technology of education. When we say this is the Bloom's taxonomy, I think many of you must have heard about this taxonomy. So just like I said that, today I'm discussing something, tomorrow ask you a question. That question can be anything at any of these levels. So there are 6, according to Bloom, there are 6 levels of learning, right? In the knowledge domain. This is in the knowledge domain. So at the bottom level is remembering. Okay. So this is recalling facts and basic concepts. Second level is understanding. So this is like, explain ideas or concepts. So if a learner remembers something, then we say that, okay, he has achieved this level 1. Understanding means he has achieved level 2. If he is able to apply, that is, use the information in a new situation, right? Or to answer a question or solve problem, then we say that it is applying of the knowledge, right? He is able to apply the knowledge that he has understood, and he also is able to remember. So when we say he is able to apply, we say that yes, he can remember and also understand. Then fourth level is analyzing. So this is basically, take part in to show relation, cause and connection, that is cause and effect relationships. If the learner is able to come up with a cause and effect relationship, then we say that he has developed level 4, that is analysis or analyzing. Then level 5 is evaluating. That is, suppose there are 2 options. Okay. Now, if you say that, okay, I like coffee more than tea. So, and if I ask you a question, why? Then you should be able to evaluate, or you should be able to justify why. Okay. So that is what is a evaluation level of a learning. And the last, that is creating, that is you are producing something new, something which does not exist, that is creating. So if you see, if you go higher up from level 1 to level 6, the amount of cognition, or the amount of brain work or thinking that is required, it keeps on increasing. That is why he has classified these levels accordingly. Okay, any questions on this? And these are the different verbs that you need to use. Okay, I think you will be studying in details this when you study the complete module only on instructional design. I think you are going to have a workshop where you are going to write your own learning objectives, where you will use these different verbs, right? Yes. Now, this is what is the current thing, I think. Okay, this is what is currently, we are in the 21st century. So in 21st century pedagogy, what we are doing is, it is it develops thinking skills. So this is the main focus of the 21st century pedagogy, that we need to develop thinking skills among the students, right? Then use project-based learning, most of these. Then it works collaboratively. We are stressing a lot of work on collaboration, right? We want learners to collaborate and learn. And then yes, they are interdisciplinary. It's not like we say that, okay, this is a problem related to mathematics or science or something. We are talking about interdisciplinary projects, right? Then we are teaching contextually. And definitely we are building technological information and media fluencies. So this one slide, it is showing you all, like, what it is to be 21st century learning, right? I think this slide I will just skip, because it is just like showing that, okay, how was the training, how did the training happens in the history, like from 50s to 20s. So now is the era of MOOCs. This you must know. This is the era of MOOCs, this is the era of mobile learning, social learning platforms. So we are in the century where we are using the technology the highest till now. In my 28 years as a teacher, I think this is the year when I have used the technology for the for most of my teaching learning processes. Each and every teaching learning process, each and every small thing, there is some or the other technology tool that is available to me. The only thing is that I should know which tool to use where, which education technology to use where. Okay. And yes, this is how now that particular thing, yes, I think there is one response here. Are even physical structure of schools relevant now, especially with MOOCs being used? Yes, this is a very big and a very good question, or very good response that I'm seeing here. Physical structures of schools, it is like, people are working on it. People are thinking about, changing these entire structures. Because naturally, if you are achieving something, something which you are achieving through physical structures, if you are achieving it through technology, without structures, I think people will go for it. See, reputed universities have so many MOOC courses, right? Stanford, Harvard, we have so many open courses now, and so many are free, right? So I believe that education is becoming accessible, it is becoming more effective, it is becoming more attractive, right? And also efficient. So using these different technologies. Okay, so actually there was one full session on instructional strategies. There was, I'll just show you, like, you know, if you see my presentation, there were so many slides that were still remaining, but maybe some other time. Okay, because I think that we need to stop. We are 56 minutes have gone. So just one last thing. Instructional strategies basically are techniques that the teachers help, you know, use to help students become independent strategic learners. And currently, I am part of this educational technology department at IIT Bombay. Are, you know, we are strong believers of active learning technologies, instructional strategies. So here, you know, there are several strategies that can come under active, but we are great proponents of active learning, right? So if you see in my webinar also, it was not just like, you know, I am just talking and you are listening. Because we believe that unless the learner or unless the participant is actively involved in something that is going on in the teaching learning process, learning is not going to happen. It does not happen. Learning doesn't happen, and retention, though, don't forget about it. So if I do not interact with the learners, or if I do not interact with the participants, what will happen is tomorrow I ask a question of what you learned yesterday. You would have forgotten. At least out of, say, 20 participants, hardly one or two would remember something, that okay, we learned this. And retention after 1 week or maybe 2 weeks, or by the end of this course, 0, right? So active learning is what we propose, we propagate, and we believe in. So I think with this I will just end. Okay. Because we are short of time, but we are meeting again many times. And for especially for people who are in this educational technology theme, I will be very happy to mentor you with your solving your problems, whatever you want to come up with, right? I went through the, you know, your registration file and saw that there are many interesting problems and questions that you want to solve. So with educational technology, I'm 100% sure we will come up with concrete solutions. Not only concrete solutions, but even implementations of those. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone, for participating today. So see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be talking about technology for education. And if you have any questions on today's session, you can just, I think you can tell Sharvari, Ruchira, or the organizers, and I will be very happy to answer any of your questions. Yes, somebody is saying, yes, I think Liz is saying that he has chosen curriculum, but technology is so integrated. Yes, actually all these themes are intertwined, I believe. Yes. So problem in curriculum can be solved using technology, educational technology. Yes. So thank you very much. So should I leave?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So is it possible that I take a picture of all the participants?
No, ma'am. Participants have no video. They are just attendees.
Okay, okay. Okay. Thank you. So I leave now. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you.